Hello, my name is Rachel Cross and today I'm going to show you my new ruler, and it's a 6-inch 45-degree diamond and Lone Star bias ruler, and of course it features our unique non-slip grip all the way around the back of the ruler. The quilt behind me has been made by Pam and Nikki Lintott, and this is one of my favourite quilts. This is the Lone Star quilt and I've always wanted to make one. Well, I've designed the ruler now to do it so I can get on with it. So this is the block here. It's a 6-inch finished diamond, but you need to have the triangles to do the top and bottom. So this is the top triangle here. All the measurements can be found on the ruler, and this is the bottom triangle. And again, all the measurements are on the ruler here, so there's none of those nasty Y seams that we all avoid doing. So you've made that whole block there, and then it enables you to sew them all together very simply. So this is the ruler. Let's take a closer look at it. So the most important section is the diamond section here. And these black numbers going along the side there, they're the finished size of diamond. And take for instance the 2-inch finished. If you follow that line across, there's an indicator there telling you the strip width to use. And in this case it's a 2.5-inch strip. So that's the diamond section. This section here is for the base triangle, and it's indicated with a B, and all these numbers along the side are the finished size triangle. And then there's this section here. This is indicated with a T, and this is the top triangle, and again all the finished size triangles are indicated along the side there. And then the easiest section is this long section on the side here, and this is excellent for cutting your strips out, and these are all indicated along the side of the ruler there, starting at 1/2-inch strip, 1 inch, 1.5, 2, 2.5, all the way up to 6.5 inch. So you can cut your strip widths there. So that's a close-up of the ruler. I'm now going to show you our version of the 8-pointed star. So we've used 2 colourways here. We've got the black, the gold and the orange. We've got gold, black and gold, and then a repeat of the first one but twisted round. This is the base triangle here, and this is the top triangle here. So this is a 6-inch finished unit there, and we measure our diamonds, the height of the diamond from there to there. So, and we've used 2.5-inch wide strips. But what we do recommend is that you spray starch your fabric before you start, and handle the fabric with care. And when you're pressing, always press very carefully, because these are very stretchy pieces of fabric. So let me show you how the units are put together. So this is the strip sewn together, and we do recommend that you stagger the end unit here. So you've got 2-inch staggered piece there, and then you simply lay your ruler on the top, and obviously this is a 6.5-inch wide ruler and the panel is 6.5 inches wide. So we make our first 45-degree cut and we go across the corner there, and that's the wastage there. And then we rotate that panel, and now we're going to use the diamond end of the ruler. So what we need to look for is a 2.5-inch wide strip. And this is the strip width indicator, and will give us a 2-inch finished diamond. So we line our fabric up there. You can see how easy it is to see, and then rotary cut your pieces there, and then keep moving along your panel until you've cut all the strips that you require. And again, this is the other colourway, and again we can line it up to the 2.5-inch strip line and rotary cut. So there our piece is done, and this is what they'll look like when they're been cut out. So we've got the black going through the middle here, okay, and on the end there. So we pin these and then sew them together like that. Pin and then sew. And then what we want to do now, I'm going to show you how to cut your base and top triangle. So first of all, we'll start with the top triangle. And this is the larger of the two. And the beauty of this ruler is that you need 6.5-inch wide fabric for both the top and the bottom triangle. So that's very easy to remember. So here we have the T, which is indicated in the corner here. So we're going to cut our first 45-degree triangle across the top there, and then you simply move the ruler across, and all of a sudden little ticks appear, and you line these up perfectly with that last cut of fabric, and then you simply rotary cut along the side there. And then for the third cut, what we need to do is rotate the ruler. Okay, and we're looking for that 6-inch indicator there, which is there. So we move the ruler across, and there's a line that goes all the way across there, and then we simply cut the last triangle there. So that's how simple the top triangles are to cut. And now we need to cut our base triangles, and again it's from the same piece of fabric. This time there's a little dashed line at the top of the ruler there, and you line that up with the top edge of the fabric, like so. And there'll be a little piece that you cut off here as well. So you simply rotary cut that off, rotary cut along the side, and then with this one we rotate the ruler 180 degrees, line it up with that last cut, and again the dashes line up perfectly with the top edge of the fabric, and you rotary cut down there and there. So they're the base, the bottom triangles, and obviously we've put two fabrics together. So you simply first add the base triangle first, followed by the top triangle, and then simply repeat that process till you've got the two units together there. And then you sew all the way along that seam there, and that then creates a nice corner unit, like so. And I've got another one here just to give you the full. So there you have half of your 8-pointed Lone Star quilt. It's as simple as that. The 45-degree diamond ruler can also be used for cutting individual diamonds like this one here. This is a 4-inch diamond. This one here is a nice little one. This is a 1.5-inch diamond. This tiny one is a little 1-inch diamond. But I'm now going to show you how to make this one with a nice quick technique, and this is adding the top triangle to the diamond at the same time. So this is a 2-inch finished diamond. So what we need is 3 strips of fabric, and we need the 2 outer ones to be 2.5 inches wide and the centre one to be 4 inches wide. So what we do is we want to cut these into 2.5-inch wide strips. So I'm using the long edge of the ruler for this, and you'll see that you can just go straight up to the point there and across to the 2.5-inch line, and that nestles in beautifully, and then you can just cut your strip along there. You'll end up with a piece that looks like this. So now we want to cut that piece in half. And line the ruler up now using the diamond area, and line it up to the 2-inch mark there. And it'll line up beautifully. That little tick there will line up to the top point, and the bottom point will line up there. And you simply cut this in half. You'll end up with 2 pieces like this. And then you can do great borders with these, like that. And you can also add the smaller B triangle onto the base there. So that's a nice little tip for you to add your diamond and your top triangle together. This is a lovely cushion panel that was made using that technique I've just showed you. And here's the top triangle added to the diamond there, and there's the base triangle there. But we've also used the usual normal diamond technique that I showed you earlier as well. This next little pattern is a chevron pattern, and it's very popular at the moment. So this is a 45-degree diamond, and we've used 2.5 inch wide strips. So I'll just quickly show you how we made this one. So we sewed 2.5 inch strips together, and we sewed 2 sets, and we put them right sides together, and this made a 6.5 inch wide panel. And then we cut across the end there, and then we brought that round to the diamond area, and we now want to cut those into 2.5 inch wide pieces. So we line up to the 2.5 inch strip line, and then we cut across there, and we go across till the end of the fabric, and you'll end up with pieces that look like this. Okay, so when you actually open these up, because they were done right sides together, you've now made your chevron. So when you sew these together, they'll look like this one here. But we've added little corner units, and this is using the B side of the triangle. I'll just quickly show you that the B, we lined it with the dotted line on the top of the B there, and went to the 2 inch mark there, and we just rotary cut across the side, and these were added to the end of those triangles, and they were pinned together, and then you sew across there like that. So that's how simple the chevron unit is to make. This next one is using a whole panel of 6.5 inch wide fabric, but we've not cut them individually, we've just kept them into a 6.5 inch unit, which I think is really striking. It's a bit like a pinwheel. So I'll just quickly show you how we did that. And we simply sewed 3 strips together, and then using the diamond end of the ruler, we simply laid the ruler on and went up to the, well, it's as far as you can go, it's the 6.5 inch line, and then we just cut across the edge there, and that created that panel. So that's how simple that one is. This piece here we thought was a great border unit for the sides of your quilt. So we've just used 6.5 inch diamonds individually, and then you can attach those to your quilt. That's how simple and attractive a border could look. We wanted to show you this little technique that we've found that you can do with the ruler, just with a little addition, and that's these plastic guides that you can stick to the back of the ruler. So I'll just quickly show you how we did it with these. So these are 6.5 inch blocks, 6 inch finished. So I've got a unit here which is 2.5 inches wide, 1.5, 1.5, 1.5 and another 2.5 inch wide panel. And we wanted them to be at least 18 inches long. So what we did, we folded it in half like that, and then we marked the centre point of the centre fabric there, and just a little mark there at this end of the fabric. And then this is what we did. There's a natural guide going across the ruler there where all the junctions meet, and that's from corner to the point there. So if you put these guides on the back of the ruler, this is what you can achieve. So you lay the ruler on top and you line it up, and you mark the centre, which is 3.5 inches across, in between the 3 inch strip line and the 3.5 inch strip. There's a white dashed line there, that's the centre line, and you mark the top there, and the guide goes, the corner of the ruler goes up to the top there, and then you simply rotary cut across the top and down the side, and then you will create your panel when you flip it open like that. So that's another tip that you can use with this ruler. So lastly, I just wanted to show you that with this ruler you're not limited to fabric widths that are only 6.5 inches wide. These are 2.5 inch strips, and I've sewn them together, so there's 6 of them there, and then we simply can go up to whichever width you want to cut them at. So I'm going to cut them into 2.5 inch strips, the indicator's there, and we've got this useful arrow as well on the ruler. And you can simply use one of the guides that are going across the ruler just to make sure that you're following a seam line there and then the angle on the side, and then you simply rotary cut 2.5 inch wide strips. So I've got some here. So this is part of a Lone Star quilt, so I'll just show you some of the possibilities that you can do with these panels here.